into today's topic, which are housekeeping basics, follow the wall in the cleaning process. And everything that we do is done with hands. So there is very little that can be done with a digital device or a robot. I'm still waiting for the automatic vacuum to turn on and start to vacuum 30 minutes after departure time, so the housekeepers don't have to do that. And I'm waiting for the robot to come out of Japan to be able to mop the floors and do all those things of that nature. So until that happens, we have hands that have to do our work. And we want to make sure that those hands are well trained and have the processes and procedures to be effective and efficient as we go forward. And so every housekeeping department has these building blocks. These are all pieces and components that create an effective housekeeping department. At the very bottom, we have compliance, moving up, training, housekeeping, follow the wall, all these different pieces that go into what make an effective and efficient housekeeping department. And so for today's conversation, we are going to talk about these two items right in the middle: the cleaning process and follow the wall. So let's talk about, because obviously we're after speed and quality, and by following the wall, that is what creates this balance beam. Or for those that remember when playgrounds were dangerous, when we had seesaws or teeter-totters on the playground, and we could certainly try to balance people on the other side. And so we're after speed and quality as we go forward. And so follow the wall is this methodology. And this is a pattern, a methodology that I learned many, many years ago when I became the assistant director at Deer Valley Lodging in Park City, Utah. And this methodology or pattern forever changed the way that I go through a property, or the way that I look at a property as I look to inspect it, clean it, or to do any maintenance work. And so there are a couple of basic things that we do with follow the wall, and that is we want to end, or as close as we can, to the kitchen. As you're looking at a wall, you want to start at the ceiling, up where the ceiling and the wall meet, and work your way down to the bottom. You want to be judicious about how often you get on the floor, because you don't want to be getting down on the floor every 5 feet or 3 feet, depending upon the room, to look under furniture. You want to try and look under as much furniture as you can by only getting on the ground once or twice in a room. And then sometimes you have to create imaginary walls to go around a kitchen island, to go around sofas or a dining room table, or something of that nature. And so here we have a floor plan of a property. You can see there's 2 bedrooms. The kitchen is on the left, multiple dining room table, multiple sofas that we have to work our way around. And so the best way to go through this property is, once I walk in the front door, I'm going to see the kitchen is to my left. And so this then becomes a right-handed property. And so this is the pattern that I would then go through the property. So now I want you to start at the front door with me, and I want you to visualize this, and you can even put your finger on the screen as we go forward. And that is, as I walk in the front door, I'm going to do the front of the door, and I'm going to go around the edge of the door, and I'm going to do the back of the door. And then you can see that I walk into the closet, or at least look in the closet with my eyes, and then I do the back of the bifold doors, the front of the bifold doors, and then I go into the next closet, and then I do the back of the bifold doors, the front of the bifold doors, and then you can see I work my way down the hall, and then into the bathroom, and then I continue to work my way all through the property. And you can see that as I go from one bathroom to the second bathroom and then back over to the bed, there are 2 X's. And that is where I chose to get on the ground and look under the nightstands or look under the bed. Now, obviously, if I had a question from Jennifer, and she's saying, are you showing the room because I only see the intro? Yes, I've moved on to several slides of that. I wonder if other people are having the same issue. Let me turn off my screen for just a moment, and unshare my screen, and then I'll share my screen again and see if that brings it back up. All right, so it says, there you go. All right, so we're all set. So I wonder if everybody missed my other slides before. Rats, look at me. Gotta love technology as we go forward. All right, Adam says, nope, he saw them. So here we are. So gotta love it. Well, thank you for the feedback and for the attention, Adam, Jennifer, and Ken. And Jennifer, thanks for making me aware of that so we can get some of this taken care of with other people. So jumping back into the slide here, you can see that there are two X's, and I stopped to look under the bed there. Now, obviously, if the bed was up high and the nightstands were up high, then I could look under with just one X, and I would choose to look on the X on the far side of the room. So the light from the window then would come in and light what I was looking at under the bed. And then I continue around. The red line is my pattern of going around, and I would then do the back of the door, the front of the door, and then go into the other bedroom where I would do the front of the door and then back of the door. And then again, I've got two X's there to look under the twin beds as I go forward. So, and then work my way around, and then I come into the living room, and you can see here where I have a love seat and a sofa, and I've got these triangles that would represent imaginary walls. And these imaginary walls then allow me to go around the furniture that is in the living room to ensure that I see and touch everything. Because that's what this pattern is about. This pattern is to ensure that a housekeeper does not do either the ping pong effect or the pinball effect, whichever metaphor you would like to use. It creates a systematic way to go through every single property. And so again, over here, as I come around the coffee table and then work my way around the TV and come over here to this chair in the corner, you can see again there's an imaginary wall because I need to create one from the corner to the back of the chair so I can get around the chair so I can see everything. Then I go out on the deck, and then jumping around the red line over here to the dining room table, again another imaginary wall to go around the table, and then another imaginary wall to go around the island in the kitchen, and then I work myself back to the front door. So I would encourage each of you to go to your home tonight, or if you have time to go to a property today, and actually follow this pattern. And it's going to feel a little wonky at first if you haven't used it, but the intent is to create a systematic way that I will see and touch everything. I will see behind every door. I will see in every drawer. I will see in every cabinet, because I'm after speed and quality. And so as I use this pattern, this methodology, I will see and touch everything in a home or a condominium. So now there's a couple of nuances to this. If this property were 2 levels, then I could certainly do the upper level as its own circle, or I could do the lower level as a second circle, or I could go through in one continuous circle, always following the wall as I go through. And so it doesn't matter if I've been in this property 60 times and I want to do it differently. You know, instead of going through in one big circle, I could do it in 2 circles. If this were two levels, I could certainly do that. And so it allows the property to stay fresh in my mind as opposed to being the same old routine over and over again. All right, so with that, with this foundation of follow the wall, we can now add on something called the cleaning process. And the cleaning process has 4 parts or 4 steps, and they are listed for you here. Prepare, make beds, clean, and then we place the towels and amenities. And so we're going to talk about each one of these specifically. So on the prepare step, there are 4 sub-steps, and that is where I gather the dirty linen, I gather the trash, I gather the dirty dishes, and then I distinguish between clean and dirty. So on the first 2, when I gather the dirty linen, I'm going to have my linen bag, so I can put the towels and the sheets as I go from room to room. And then I'm going to have a trash bag, so I can gather the trash as I go from room to room. And then the dirty dishes is, as I see those and grab those, I can leave my bags as a marker for where I've been and then take them back to the kitchen. So now remember back in Follow the Wall, here the first step was end in the kitchen. And the reason for that is because I need to gather the dirty dishes. And when I get done, I can place the dishes in the dishwasher. And then that will, the dishwasher can run while I am doing my job of the clean. So that's why we end in the kitchen on Follow the Wall. And then I distinguish between clean and dirty. This is where I will leave signals for myself, or if I'm cleaning as a team, or if I'm preparing a property, we want to make sure that everybody uses the same signals so they know what's clean and dirty. Because rarely is everything dirty in a property. And if it's clean, as a housekeeper, why should I spend my time and my product in cleaning something that's already clean? I want to clean what's dirty and then move on. So we want everybody to use the same signals. And those signals are, if the inside of a drawer is dirty, we want to make sure that we leave the drawer propped open. So you can see here, the first and third drawers are open, and the second and fourth drawers are closed as you count from the top. Cabinets, kitchen cabinets, bathroom cabinets, storage cabinets, whatever the case may be. If the inside is dirty, I will leave the doors open. And if the inside of the cabinet is clean, I will leave the cabinets closed. And same thing on the sofa cushions. If underneath the sofa cushion is dirty, I will leave it turned up as a signal that I need to clean underneath. And then if the sofa cushions are down as they are on this couch to the right, then I know I only need that those are clean and I do not need to worry about those. And so as we do these signals, it is important that everybody uses the same language. That way, if I'm cleaning in a team, and I'm going to jump back here on my slides back to this diagram. So if Ken and I are a team, we're going to decide before we walk in the door who's going to the left and who's going to the right, because we're going to go through these the 4 steps of the cleaning process. So Ken would say, Dirk, Ken wants to go to the right, so Dirk would go to the left. So that means I would hit the kitchen first, which is totally okay because that's just the way the pattern goes. So then I would go into the kitchen and work my way backwards, and Ken would go to the right and work his way through the property as we do step 1, which is prepare. So we're leaving our signals for ourselves. We're opening drawers and cabinets, and then we would meet somewhere in the middle. And then we would then go back to the door in preparation for step 2. But let me jump back on my slides I want to talk about one thing that took me a long time to learn. And I'm not sure why, other than it just did. So here we are. So you get to stand on my shoulders and learn from my mistake. When I first learned this process, I would open the first drawer, see that it was dirty, and then have to open the second drawer, close the first, open the second, and see that it was dirty. And then I thought, I've got to open these drawers. I got to remember what's dirty. I've got to do all this work. And then the light bulb went off. Well, why don't you start at the bottom? So whenever you're working with drawers, you start at the bottom. That way, if you have to leave a drawer open because it's dirty, you can simply move on to the next drawer and leave it open. So a nifty trick. That way you don't have to remember what's dirty, what's not, and it does save you a few seconds as you go from place to place. Second step is we make beds. The reason we make beds on the second step is because if there's a real estate showing, or if there's other stuff that other people that are visiting the property and they walk in and they see the beds are made, they think you are almost done. We're not even close. We haven't even started to clean yet. And because the beds are made, it puts them at ease and it makes the property look better as they walk through the property. And so the second step is make beds. And then the third step is, we make beds, we would follow the wall. So that means as we walk in the front door, we would then go into the master bedroom, make that bed, and then go to the twin bed and make that bed. So yes, I am advocating that in the cleaning process on each step, as I jump back to my original slide here for just a moment, on each one of these steps, you go through, you do follow the pattern of follow the wall. And you might say, well, that takes extra time. It does all these things. It doesn't. What it does do is it breaks down this whole property that I want to be clean when I walk out the door, and it breaks the cleaning, the whole clean into smaller steps. That way, I don't have to think as much. I just have to do, because I know in each one of these steps, I have a very specific item or task that I have to do. And so I can focus on that as a housekeeper, because a housekeeper's work is very mentally challenging and physically demanding. If you think of all the personal protective equipment, all the policies, procedures, and the standard property appearance, all those things that I have to remember as a cleaner, if I can break it up, when I break it up into smaller steps, then I can better succeed at doing that, because I don't have to look at this as a great big property to clean. I look at it as very small and specific steps. So jumping back to step 2, which is make the beds, I'm going to go through it. And again, I'm not going to go through the entire property to make the beds, because there's only 2 bedrooms in this property. I would go to those 2 bedrooms and make those beds. Now, I want to make a comment about teams, because as I described before, Ken and I are a team. I walked in the door and went to the left. He walked in and went to the right. The only time that I should see a team together is when they're meeting in the middle from following the wall, or when they're making a bed. There is this thought out there that send a team, they're faster. Well, a team is only faster if they can clean the property in a shorter time than it takes one person. Otherwise, they're the same as one person from a man-hour standpoint. Now, I agree that if it's a 3-hour property and the team gets it done in an hour and a half, yes, it is quicker from a stop and start standpoint. From a man-hour standpoint, based on the numbers I just gave, they're the same. And so you want to train your teams to follow the wall. You want to train them that and hold them accountable to a clean time shorter than if one person was in the property. Step 3, we want to clean the property with the appropriate products on the appropriate surface. We want to make sure we use personal protective equipment, and we want to make sure that we follow the wall. So that means, again, as I pick on Ken, and I hope he's okay with that. If not, he'll send me a message and say he's not. Again, right, I would go to the left, he would go to the right as we go through this. Or if I were cleaning as an individual housekeeper, I would walk into the right, and this is the pattern that I would follow, because I've already distinguished between clean and dirty. So all I have to do is take my handy dandy cleaning kit with me, and this is the kit that I like and use. I would take that with me from room to room, and I would use the appropriate product on the appropriate surfaces. And as I left each one of those rooms, I would know that they would be clean. So I would go through the closets and get to the bathroom. I would clean the tub, the toilet, the sink, all those things, and then I would do the floor on my way out. So that way, when I walked out, I would know it was all done. And then I would do the same thing in the next bathroom, and then the same thing in the closet, and then the same thing in the master bathroom as I go forward. And go through all of that. And so, so here I am trying to go through this pattern in accomplishing this clean. And so this is step 3, which is clean the property. And so now I want to digress for just a moment, and I want to talk about cleaning products. And cleaning products are very important to the work that a housekeeper does, because it's going to kill the microbes, and it's going to kill or break down the soap scum and the hard water deposits. And so you want to make sure that you have a good product that does those 2 items. And so this slide shows 6 different cleaning products. The first one is a bleached sodium hypochlorite concentrate, and the last one is a silver dihydrogen citrate. Notice here on the first one what it's effective against: HIV, H1N1, MRSA, all of these other things. But then notice down here this item called dwell time. So dwell time is how long a product has to sit on the surface in order for it to kill the microbe. And notice what it does here. This particular concentration takes 5 to 10 minutes. That's a huge amount of time from a housekeeper standpoint to sit there and wait for this product to do its work. Whereas if you come all the way over here to hydrogen peroxide, which is the third one from the end, it's 1 to 10 minutes, depending on the product. And then the last one is 30 seconds, again, depending on the product and the concentrate. And so my second assignment to you, or my second request, would be that you go back and ask your the people who you buy your products from, that you get a list from them of what microbes that your cleaning solutions kill. Again, you want a cleaning solution that breaks down the soap scum, breaks down the body oils, breaks down the hard water deposits, and also one that kills the microbes. So you want to ask for that list. Someone raised their hand for a question, and I don't see their question coming through. So when you have a moment, if you would type that in there so I can be sure and answer that question for you. And then the next slide is a continuation of the first in the health effects. So on the first one, which is bleach and sodium, we always want to be careful that we don't mix ammonia and bleach, because that would make chlorine gas. And then notice the last one where there's no warning or side effects. And so we depend on our cleaning product to be our tool, so we don't have to use a lot of elbow grease and a lot of scrubbing. And so we want to make sure that we have the right cleaning product and the right tool, so to speak, for the housekeepers to use. From a cleaning product standpoint, we want to spray the product, let it sit on the surface, wipe the product with a microfiber rag, and then move on. I don't want to have to rinse, I don't want to have to wipe, I don't want to have to do all of those things. And so you want to make sure you have a really good cleaning product, and you want to buy it in a concentrate. The other thing I want to bring up is personal protective equipment. You want to make sure you have the right gloves, the right eye protection, aprons if it's required, and this is all in section 8 of the safety data sheets. And I would encourage you, so this is your third assignment today, which would be to go and look at your oven cleaner. Take a look at your oven cleaner on section 8 of the safety data sheet and see what personal protective equipment that it says. There are several oven cleaners out there that will say splash goggles, which is the one above the safety glasses on the right, and a face shield. It requires both, and it requires chemical resistant impervious gloves. So you want to be very careful with that product that you're using to clean ovens with. So step 1 was prepare the property. Step 2 was make the bed. Step 3 was clean. Oh yes, and this is what happens when you don't wear protective eye equipment. You get stuff in your eyes, which is just never a good thing. And then step 4 is you place towels and amenities. So then again, these are going to be placed per your standard property appearance. That's where this is going to be articulated to the housekeeper and to the inspector of what products go where, how the towels are hung, where they go, where the remote controls go, all of those things. And so once you've gone through each of those steps, as you follow the wall, then you are better able to walk out of that property, set to the standard of the company, and it is ready for the guest arrival. Because we are after these two things. We are after speed and we are after quality. And the only way to have speed and quality is to have the same pattern and the same method as I clean, no matter what size property I am. And so whether it's a 4-story sandcastle, so to speak, with 15 bedrooms and 20 bathrooms versus a 1-studio condominium, I can follow this exact same pattern of follow the wall and the cleaning process to obtain my quality and to clean it in the most effective manner. So again, we have the housekeeping building blocks. We want to follow the wall and we want to do the cleaning process because that allows us to have that same pattern over and over again. So So there is the follow the wall and the cleaning process. What questions can I answer for you? What thoughts do you have? So Carrie is asking, how do you teach this principle to other people? And so I'm going to jump back on a couple of slides here to this slide right here. And the way I teach it is I teach follow the wall separate from the cleaning process. I teach it in a way where we don't, when I first walk into a property with a group of people, I will say, we're not talking about cleanliness. We're not talking about anything of that nature. All we're doing is we're going to focus on this methodology called follow the wall. And so I will actually place my hand on the wall, and as I demonstrate to them, I will walk through and articulate. So again, I would talk about, I'm doing the front of the door, I'm doing the back of the door, I'm going in the closet, I'm doing the back of the bifold door, doing the front of the bifold door, and then going into that closet and all that way around. And then I stop and ask any questions, and then I give it to somebody else to do and demonstrate. And I make this a very fun and safe environment so that this pattern can be learned. Again, this is about ensuring that the housekeeper doesn't roam from room to room and corner to corner of the room. There's a very systematic and very methodical way of going through this property so that they can see and touch everything. And then once that is done, then I can then go back through and talk about following the wall so that everybody is on that same pattern and uses the same signals as we go forward. I'm going to jump back to my other question here. Oh, what other questions do you have? All right, so Ken's got a question. He says, when you say follow the wall, are you inspecting first prior to making the bed? So when I say, so I'm going to jump back here to my slides, which is going to be this one right here, which is the cleaning, which is the preparing the property here. So when I prepare, in essence, yes, I'm inspecting the property to distinguish between clean and dirty. I'm not inspecting it from an arrival standpoint, but as I go through the property, following the wall in this example to the right, I would be gathering the trash, gathering the dirty linen, and distinguishing between clean and dirty so I can leave those signals for myself. So when I come back in step 3, when I leave a property, it is clean and ready to go. And so as I look at your question again, yes, I do go through the entire property before I make the beds. So I go through the property 4 different times. I follow the wall once for prepare, once for make beds, once for clean, and once for towels and amenities. Did I answer your question, Ken? If not, please tell me how I need to better explain that. I'm happy to do so. All right, so with that, if you have any additional questions that come to mind as you start to filter this through and think about it, this is my contact information, my email address, and then the phone number where I can be reached at. I'm happy to answer any additional questions that you may have and assist you in any way with that. And this recording will be made available to you so you can see it and revisit it and pause it and think about it and use the techniques and principles that are here. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I appreciate your time and thank you for attending, and look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Have a great day, everybody.